Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Friday morning again. You're in tune to Win FM 98.9. It's on your radio dial. It's about that time, the time when you hear your views. Your views is a program that is aired on Win FM every Friday morning at 10 o'clock. And your host is always yours truly, Sandra Quilly Atherton. It's a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to bring information to you because that's what the program is all about. It's supposed to make sure that it doesn't matter whatever the subject matter is, that you are properly informed. Normally we would have guests on our program and we bring people who can give you the right information. That's what we try our best to do. And so that you can always make an informed decision. It doesn't matter whatever the topic is. We have to be very much aware still that we are in an environment where we are threatened. It's no longer, I think people get panicked when you hear about a pandemic, but they're not even worried when you realize that the things that are still lurking around, monkeypox, there are 7 cases that they're monitoring in St. Lucia. The sad part about it, is that one of the person who has been suspected doesn't have any travel history, so it says a lot. Here, we're still looking at internationally, worldwide, that COVID has been changing variants, and it's still a factor, and we still have to make sure that we take the necessary precautions. And the other, what we have in the air is politics. Politics for me can be very addictive. It can be highly transmissible, and it is one of those things that can wreak havoc in families and friends and relationships. So we have to be very careful how we approach this season. It's not a silly season. I always tell people it's not a silly season. It's a season where you have to make that decision of your lifetime, taking into consideration not just yourself, but your family, your children's future, and the future of the country. These are the things that you weigh into. It's not about party politics anymore, because we have seen, basically, I think we've had enough. I have had enough of politics and politicians, trust me. But at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we choose the one that is best or creates that impression. And I don't want the impression. I want one who has a track record that they can deliver what they say they will deliver. You can't tell somebody who to vote for, and that is a fact. People have a right to vote for whoever they want to. It's their constitutional rights. But at the end of the day, I recognize and I look at what the situation is around here. I listen to politicians, and trust me, for me, it's like a concert. It's the entrance, the noise, the music, the selection of music. Those are the things that you're looking at. The propaganda. And you wonder, really and truly, I wish politics was based on truth, where people would go and really tell the truth instead of this propaganda. You know what I noticed? And I want to talk, this conversation this morning, I have a guest and I do wish he doesn't show up because I really want to have this conversation this morning. This conversation is about the electorate. I noticed that we get sucked into this whole thing. And that is one of the reasons why we are not looking at what the politicians are doing. They bring the best music, the most popular artists they bring. They feed you. They ask you what you want. Realize this is for only 2 months, max. After that, look around and see if you see any politician going to come by your door. They open up all of these constituency offices, and at the end of the day, even before the last vote is counted, the offices are closed. And I want you all to be very vigilant. This is about the electorate. This is not about any politics and no politician or political party. This is about us. Forget all that hype. They create that atmosphere, one that would hype you up so that you would overlook the reality. Because at the end of the day, after this is done, you have people still going around and beg. I know this is for a fact because my phones never stop ringing off the hooks. People need help, genuinely need help. And I'm so upset with the politicians who use these people to satisfy their own cause. If you would sit back and look analyze the situation, you recognize what they're doing. People, citizens, and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis, we have been used. They promise you all sorts, and you ask yourself the question, you were there. I had 2 young men came to my house yesterday, 2 young men, and I was so proud of them, with business plans. Business plans, 2 young men. They are certified. One is a certified electrician, and the other one is a certified mechanic. And these are 2 young men who want to start their own businesses. That is what saddens me. You go to a politician and he's going to promise you, I am going to wait. I am going to. And it's just winding down to the point where after they would have exercised their franchise, after they would have voted, that is a business that's gone down the drain. And then we ask ourselves the questions. Why do you have to have a peace program? Why do you have to have PAP? Why do you have to have STEP? These are questions you ask because there are people out there who are really deserving of these programs. We are in an environment. Environments are created by these politicians where they come to you as the nicest set of people. Wolves they are in sheep clothing. And all they do after a very short time, you would recognize they move from poverty, can't afford to pay their mortgage, they can't hold a job, and at the end of the day, after half a term, after a year, then start looking at what they have accumulated in that short space of time. I don't care if you tell me that their salaries are $17,000 a month. There's some of them who are so way behind with the bills that they had piled up. After a year, they will not even be able to cover it. But yet still, they can buy multi-million dollars properties. And we are asking the same question over and over and over again. But it's a pity. We can listen to the speeches, but we can't see the hearts. We don't know the intentions, but you ask, why are doctors and lawyers running into politics when their intentions was in the first place to help people? You have a doctor or doctors who really wanted to help, but you ask them now, how many patients have you seen for free? And they will tell you, they don't see patients for free. If Dr. Laws was running for election, I definitely would have voted for him. Because I think he likes his profession more than anything else. I don't think he worked for money. He just likes the fact, because he's a doctor, genuine doctor, and we are waiting to see others who's going to walk the same path like him. Lawyers, how many people would have you defended? All of those young men that you're going to now who are on the peace program, how many of them would you have helped and counseled after the fact? But now you want them to vote for you. You're on the platforms. I listen to it. When I tell people, I really do not listen to public meetings because it sickens me. We want to hear about the issues, not how you bail out your cousin and how much money you gave him when his electricity was off. These are the things that are taken on political platform, and it sickens my stomach. You hear now the politicians are coming out and telling you, oh, when we were in there, we couldn't do anything because our hands were tied. We couldn't do this, and we watched them do this, and then they can come out and tell you about all the secrets according to Bakaliko. They're behaving like Victoria because they have all the secrets. And now they're coming out with all their secrets. And how can we trust them when they were part and parcel to it? It's not everybody going to talk, because some people do still have the principles, and they still have certain kind of morals that they would live by. But it's sad when you see these things come up. But you know what it did? It opens up my eyes to the kind of corruption that is in the political arena. Politicians, they are corrupt. We know that. We feel the brunt of it. After they would have fed themselves, bankrupt the country, then they introduce taxes. And who has to suffer the consequences? I wish and hope that the citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis are listening. I know everybody's going to tell me who I am and what I have and what I got. And that is the propaganda that is spread. Could you imagine politicians are paying propaganda machines to come to St. Kitts so that they can spread propaganda? When I hear about Barbados winning an election because they had the best propaganda machine, and we sit down and we think that is, yeah, it's true. It's who could spread the best propaganda. And we as residents, as the electorates, the people who are going to vote, we are the ones who are happy that our party has a better propaganda machine than that party. Do we understand what propaganda is? Do we really understand the seriousness of it? They go and they dig up the oldest tape and they bring it and they have you listen to it. And people are running around and they're praising them. And then at the end of the day, they're going to call me. Sandra, I was trying to get, you could please help me. No more. I'm going to tell you all now, nobody called my number after this election, win, lose, or draw. I am sick of it. Because the same set of people you try to help are the ones that you see running high, and they're the ones who have the most noise. They make the most noise. So why are you voting? You ask yourself the question. Why do you vote in an election? I don't vote for me. I vote so that the country could be placed in the most capable hands, and so that they can build a vibrant economy. And then at the end of the day, I can benefit, because when the economy is vibrant, as a small business owner, it trickles down. So I want to make sure that the people who are at the helm, not people who I can call and beg, I don't want that. I want people who are at the helm are the ones who are going to create jobs, the ones who are going to create an environment that is conducive for growth, that I can grow. And this is one of the things that we have to look at. People, you're going out to vote. The politicians are laughing after you. These are people you just pick up on the sideway and you bring them in. They had the same bad intentions. They're not going to change. They become worse when they become politicians. There are a lot of people in there, a lot of candidates that I like. There are a lot of politicians that I like. But when I see what politics have done to them, you can't believe it. We've been fooled. We have to check ourselves. Let's go back. How far have you gotten? What is the difference you've seen from 2015 to 2022? And they say, Sandra, because you're back in PLP. Yeah, I used to back Pam. You cut me, Pam would jump out of me. I was that because I believed in their policies. But until the time when I recognize that people do not live up to what they really say, nobody can have me run behind you and go shush you with my friend in the background and say, he shouldn't have done that, and then run out and say, I'm going to vote for them still. No, I'm not doing that. I have seen too much. I've been exposed to too much. And I'm not going to be like the one out there who comes out and say it. I know I am not going to support it anymore because I don't like what I see. People want to get in there because they want self-satisfaction. It's not about us, it's about them. And until you would realize what is really going on, it's not just St. Kitts politics, it's politics on a whole. The simple little stupid trivial reasons why you shouldn't vote for this and demonizing and making people look like villains because you want to get in. And you know that you do not have the qualification, but you do not have the experience. You don't have the skills of doing that. I am going to let you be your own judge. There are a lot of you who are sitting on the sides and undecided. All you have to do is an evaluation on self. Do an evaluation on yourself and see from whence you came and where you're at. I remember the days, I know of mothers and, consoling them was difficult. When you called and said your young son was gunned down, your young daughter was beaten to death, kidnapped and beaten to death. These are the kind of things that we were exposed to. When at night my house is filled with burglar bars because you're afraid. Every little noise you heard, you had to stay awake because you were afraid that somebody was trying to get into your house. I remember the situation where I remember going into Value Mart and people, when VAT was introduced for the first time, and this woman said to me, Lord, I'm accustomed to come in here and buy these things. They were $150. This is what I used to pick up. Now she realized she doesn't have enough money. And we have been through that. We've been there. And you want to go back to that? Well, that is your choice. That is your choice. We have people who are contesting the election, who were in there, who had 4 seats. Pam had 4 seats. We had representatives from Pam in there with 4 seats. And if you couldn't exercise that strength and understand how powerful you were, and you decide to walk away and take us back to the poll, and we should put you back there again when you had no confidence in yourself, we as the electorate should not be fooled. You have a new party in PLP. You have new candidates in PLP. Everybody is going to give you their best story. You have to examine them. Look at how they behave and perform before they became candidates. And then you make that decision. You don't look to a party who would have invested heavily in a propaganda machine so that they can look good. We have to move away from that. This is not the era for that kind of politics. And there are lots of things that are looming out there. So it's not just about putting somebody in office. You have to put somebody who is capable. You look at Unity Construct under the leadership of the Honorable Timothy Harris. You saw how we came through. It surprised me when the opposition was saying that what they were doing was not sustainable. They cussed the fact, they're running down the Social Security. Sooner or later, people can't get their money. No, when you become pensionable, you can't get no pension money because no money would be inside there. And we saw how we went through that pandemic like a breeze. How it was properly handled. We see people and understand that people, it doesn't matter what your political persuasion is or affiliation is. We have seen people who have benefited. Curtis Cook can tell you the story that under a unity government, he is a strong Labour supporter and he got his house fixed. But he has a right because he's a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. And that is how it's supposed to be. It doesn't matter what party you support, as long as benefits are to be had by every citizen, then you should be included. And that is how politics should be run. Not being afraid that now that I spoke out, when Labour get into power, I know they're going to victimize me. This is what happens. We can't say that. We can't live this life anymore. You have experienced 7 years of freedom, where everyone was free to do whatever they wanted. It is the first time in the history of St. Kitts and Nevis where you did not hear the cry of victimization. I was victimized. It was minimal when people would have done certain things and they would have to suffer the consequences for it, but not when people are fired for no reason. But don't feel because you would have done something and you use the fact that only because I'm a Labour, only because I'm a CCM, only because I'm a... No, I'm talking about genuinely. Permanent secretaries have stayed in their position. This is unheard of. So, I'm going to say to you guys, this is not the silly season. This is the season where we need all of the scholars to come out. Start doing the evaluations. Start doing your own analysis. Start looking at where we are and see if we want to go back to from whence we came. This is what we have to start looking at. We go to political parties and they hype you. Why do you have to always hype up people? Ask yourself the question. Because then when you're hyped, you can't think. They feed you. And it upsets me. We are treated just like, and they always said the black man, give them the simplest thing and you can win them over. They sell their soul, which is true. You're seeing that. We are better than that, and the politicians have to treat us better than that. All of a sudden, now they drive with their windows down, which is not the norm. Once ago, you couldn't call them, they would never answer. Now, after the first ring, they would answer you. If I was a politician, during this time, I would not even be campaigning. Because once you would have done what you had to do. I look at Dr. Harris, and I think that is one of the reasons why, and I can say this, and it's not because we're going to say, oh, you support Dr. Harris. Dr. Harris was a labor man. He was basically the brainchild in labor. Him and I were friends since I was 18 years old working at Social Security. Never voted for labor, never supported Dr. Harris. I see him in action. I see what he has done. And because I've seen what he would have done, I see the way he doesn't have to campaign now because he does it every day. Every day he walks through his constituency. Every funeral he's at. And this is not a just now thing. Every church service he's at. And this is not a just now thing. He's at the market. He's all over. Not just in his constituency, but that is how a prime minister behaves. Not one who parades the best shoes and how well he can cook lobster. Or who wears the best watch. That's not what it is. Not a prime minister or a leader who would insult its citizens because they ask a question. And these are facts. These are the facts. We have people who are going to fly in from overseas and they're going to make that decision of who we should have at the leadership helm. And when they're done, they left. They would have left and they would leave us here under a government that they would have selected, and they go to America enjoying their food stamps and their welfare monies and the privileges that are offered by Uncle Sam. And we have to stay here and wait and hope that we survive the next 5 years. This should have been the first thing that was passed in Parliament, where overseas voters should not. And nobody can tell me anything. I stayed here through thick and thin. I stayed under every single government. But there's some people who could not take it and they run. And now they want to come back and give us a government and then they go back outside. It's not right. It's really not right. And I ask those of you, consult your conscience. And ask yourself if it's the right thing for you to do. You are privileged enough to have dual citizenship. Some of us don't, only have one. It's not the politician that speaks the loudest. It's not the politician that says the best things. It's the politician who would have proven himself. And we have that. And I've always said, why fix it if it's not broken? And these are the questions that you ask yourselves, because we have a decision to make. We have a critical decision to make. But you know what? There's always 7 years of plenty and then 7 years of famine. We've had 7 years of plenty. Let us pray and hope that the decisions that we make do not put us in a situation where we have 7 years of famine. I tell you guys, it's not all who jump high. You know what upsets me? During this election time, they go pick up the handicaps, they interview them. You have business people who you now recognize how good they are. And when you were in power, you never found a program that would help small businesses. But now you're going around interviewing everybody, recognizing how skillful you are, forgetting that you just came out of politics. For 7 years, you're in leadership. You're in a position where you could have made a difference and you did not. And this is what I'm saying to you. I don't care who you choose, but make sure the person that you choose is the right person to suit the environment that we are placed in now. We are growing. St. Kitts is the envy of most Caribbean islands. We are small. We are small, but we are effective. And those of you who think that going to the polls and voting for a government who would have given you, or a candidate who would have given you $100 or $1,000, today think that they can give you tomorrow? And this is what I'm so upset. I see everybody who's wanting something. All of us would want, but you don't want anything for a short period of time. You want something that is sustainable for the rest of your life. Not something that somebody's going to give you now, and after you're done, or you would have voted for them when they get into power, they're going to tell you that their hands were tied. I look at, or I listen to, I have a list. And I'm not in politics. I just go around and try to help, of people who are fighting to get on PAP. And when I investigate, their situations, these are people who genuinely should be on PAP. You can ridicule the PAP program as much as you want. The government cannot employ everybody, and the government cannot provide employment for everybody. The government is supposed to create an environment where people, the private sector is boosted, and people can own their own businesses. This is the environment that one should start working on. But of course, it's not there yet. So you have programs in place that would alleviate some of your poverty. That's the PAP. That is the PAP. And when people, you could say as much as you want, but I've seen people who are coming to me and begging me, I can't help. I'm not in a position to help. And that is one of the reasons why I would not go into politics. Because politicians create beggars. And you can't blame people who come to you, because at the end of the day, there's absolutely nothing else to do. We are boasting an economy that is strong. One, and you can see that, 4 double salaries. Yes, I'm talking about what the unity construct would have done under the leadership of the Honorable Timothy Harris. A 10% increase in salary. Where and when? When was the last time, if ever, you'd have heard about that? You have the understanding that it is not enough, that would be increased in September. Do not let anybody fool you. And that is what you are seeing. People are fooling. Politicians are fooling people. They have the best speeches. It's only talk. Talk is cheap. Whiskey costs money. Let them prove themselves. And that is what I would ask you to do for these upcoming elections. I'm going to open the line if you want to weigh in on this. And let me tell you, I'm going to tell you guys now, do not call in with no propaganda. If you call in with propaganda, I'm going to cut you off. I want people to start talking exactly how it is. Because there are a lot of people who benefit. There are a lot of people who are hating. Dr. Harris has been hated because he walked away from the Labour Party and he caused the demise of Labour. When you ask them what has he done, nobody can tell you, oh, he looks after his family. A man who looks after his family will look after the country. And it's only fair to his family. They're qualified. Why shouldn't they work? And so when Dr. Harris gets out of power, what are you going to do? Victimize his family and throw them out of the areas that they work? This is something that is not right. We should not allow these things to happen. The situation with Dr. Harris and Unity. Oh, they say he mashed up Labour. He broke up with the PLP people. Ask why. And if they are honest, and if they would tell you their story, what they didn't get. You see Big Lies apologizing to Douglas. These are people who were so vocal, who could have told you how terrible Dr. Douglas was and the wrong things that Dr. Douglas was doing. I mean, Dr. Douglas is a good man because he forgave him. These are people who came to you with all of the stories why, the reasons why you shouldn't vote for Labour in the 2015 election. And these are the people because they did not get what they wanted. And that's a fact. Because they didn't get what they wanted, now they turn against Dr. Harris. Or they say, everybody can't be saying, everybody can't be telling a lie. Everybody, if somebody, there must be some truth in it. But why can't you see that it's because of the fact that he walked away from corruption and the people who he walked away with want to encourage him down the path of corruption, and he decided, no, you cannot get, I am not going to I'm not going to create any programs for you as a facilitator where you would want $100,000 for the 3 months. No, I am not going to let you bring in anybody to do a pair, and your benefits are going to be in excess of $12 million, an overrun that taxpayers would have to pay. And no, I'm not going to give you a salary of $24,000 because Dr. Douglas was doing that for his press secretary. People, the truth, because of the fact that you work, you don't come out and say these things. But there are facts out there that you would never hear. Because there's some people who still have principles and morals and would not talk the things. Look at the situation with Unity. You come out and you can say as much as you want, all this and all that. What happened to electricity? We know for a fact, I didn't realize, honestly, and I'm going to tell you guys, I thought politicians were honest people. And that is one of the reasons why I was supporting so strong. I was pushing. But when I realized how corrupt these politicians are, and I'm not a politician, I would never be. So if you want to listen to me or you want to listen to politicians who are vying to get back in there, then be my guest. But if you understand the kind of corruption inside of politics, we would never vote. Trust me, we would never vote. Politicians are so corrupt, and when you listen to them, they are liars. When you listen to them on the story and the twist in which the story is twisted, I can't believe it. And that is what upsets me most, because I was there. I supported them because I thought they had the best St. Kitts and Nevis, the citizens of St. Kitts and Nevis' interests it was there in their interest to see that the country was moving in the right direction. But then we understand, no, it's all about self. You listen to Janice Daniel in Nevis, she's soft-spoken. I've listened to her, and I've seen where character assassination, where information is brought up which is not true. But they've done that to me, so I understand it. And I'm not a politician, only because, just like you have your views and I have mine. And every time I say how I feel, well, because I'm getting something. Oh, because Sandra Queally Atherton is getting something. I've seen pictures of a land that I would have paid for. Well, I suppose that's one of the reasons why I couldn't get land on the Labour and I couldn't get land on the PAM, because you had to do something in order to get it. I pay just like everybody else. I see the Guyanese they're building the biggest houses in St. Kitts. They are building it on our lands, and I bought a piece of land so that I can run my business. I was born, bred, and reared here. Born in Nevis, bred and reared in St. Kitts. Never went anywhere to live. And I bought me a piece of land, and that became an issue. What is that saying? That only a certain set of people can get. And I thank God that that trend has been broken. And the ordinary people or persons can get land. You know, it saddens me when you have discussion. Somebody come to you, Sandra, I can't get a piece of land. Lord have mercy, I'm not sustainable development. Let me see what I can do for you. And the story is the same. You know how long I'm trying to get a piece of land? These are ordinary citizens. And when you look at the lots that the Chinese are in here and what they would have had, what they get, and you're going to watch me, an ordinary citizen, and say only because she gets something. No, I'm not easily bought. Not at all. If you're going to buy me, it has to be big. When I'm done, I don't have to work. That is the kind of money I look for if you want to buy me. And that I would think twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 times. It's not about the monies that you get or how much money you can get. It's about at the end of the day where we are going to be. You know where we would have come from. We came out of the hands of IMF. The lands that the people are now getting, they were in National Bank. We had VAT that was taking our lives. 17% VAT even on food. Poor people couldn't afford to buy it. We are now in a position where that has been alleviated. We have created programs to help to try to alleviate some of the hardships of people. I listened to this lady and I'm so sorry for her. Me and my neighbor voting for Labour. I don't care if you take the $500 from me. It was sad. This is a person who well can the $500 would help. But because they support a party, they are putting themselves in a situation, throwing themselves overboard so that this party can succeed. And it doesn't matter to them whether or not they would have to perish in the process. It is sad. And politicians, I'm talking to you. It's not right. It's not right. You know your intentions are not good. You know you intend to go in there and look after yourself. History would always repeat itself. The facts are there. Why are we hiding? Why are we not unveiling the facts? Why are we just so gullible? It's all about them. It's not about us. Most of these candidates that are vying for position, they were paid. They were paid to run. So then you ask yourself the question, if somebody has to pay them to run, what are they going to do when they get in? And that's what happens. People's bills are paid off. I'm struggling. People's bills are paid off. Their loans are paid off. I didn't realize all of this happening in politics. Well, Jesus, and I'm still so poor. But it sickens me because I don't want to be like that. And you have an understanding now why lawyers and doctors are fighting to get in there. Because before they go in there, they are paid. And these are facts. People go up on the platform to talk. And they say it, I would talk for you if you pay me. And 2 days later, they're on the platform. So what does that say? They use people who are influential so that they can turn you, so that they can benefit. And what we do as black people, as always, like a lamb to a slaughter, $5 make a difference. And we follow them like the Pied Piper. We're the rats. And after they get in, they forget you. Could you imagine? I put you in power, and for 7 years on your phone, ATM out of order. And then you gonna fall for that again? It's not right. Your status says ATM out of order. I've pleaded. I said, no, you can't do that, though. It's not right. These are people who gave you a job. Oh, but he says I can. You think every time they come back and give them something? But look at the fact that you are in a position now that you're so way ahead. They're not asking you to give them money. Give them a job. You have the opportunity to do so now. Find something for them to do. The government have programs. Get them on it. Don't tell people what your hands are tied. If you really care about people, you will do whatever it takes to help. I can tell you about that. I've given my life. Sometimes people come and say, Sandra Lord, and I'm thinking, and my children would say to me, Mommy, you can't do that. You have to learn to say no. But you can't say no when you know, you understand the hardships, and that $5, $50, $100 would make a difference. You give what you don't have. My mother used to always tell me that. You give, and that is when, and I'm saying that you're in a position where you have the power. If you don't create an environment for them to stop begging, they're going to beg. But you're so busy looking after yourself. And you get so frustrated when they meet you down the road, not realizing that you would have disregarded them, and now you're going back, sitting down every day and having your own life. And I'm so upset with social media right now because of the lies, the opportunity to spread all of these lies and propaganda. And poor people are not looking, not having an understanding. How could you, in your right mind, want to follow a leader who has never been in parliament? Dr. Drew, I am sorry, and it's nothing personal. But at the end of the day, there's something lurking behind you. How could you follow a leader that was in there with the majority of seats and couldn't do anything for you? Sean, you and I would ever be friends, but it's a fact. It's not right. If you would have failed once, you're going to fail twice. There are people out there who have the know-how, the knowledge of how to do things. You can't follow somebody who would have been rejected twice. And I think I have the right to talk because everybody else have that right. But whenever I speak, I realize it's a problem. Oh, they're going to drag my personal life that I don't have in public. They're going to expose all of my dirty linens that I wash on a daily basis and really don't care, because those that I don't want to wash, I put it on a light post in a plastic bag. And they're going to tell you all sorts of things about yourself. But they should have the right to talk. Ira McMahon and I respect him. I really do. Always go at each other. But you know what I like about Ira is that he believes in what he says, although it's not the truth. Because after a while, you say something over and over again, and then it becomes your truth. And you believe in it. Because how can you overlook all of the other wrong things that somebody would have done and you're going to defend them? And then you say, I'm not defending him. It's about good governance. It's about a system that is going to be in place. What system? You have had 7 years to put a system in place. You have had 20 years to put a system in place. You've had 15 years to put a system in place. And at 2022, we are operating the same way. So what system you want in place? Huh? Yeah. What I'm going to do right now is that I'm going to open the lines for a few minutes. And I know Ira is going to call in. The number you can call is 662-0989, 466-0989, or 762-0989. If you want to weigh in for a very short time. And like I said to you, this is my program. I am the host of the program. And if you're going to be disrespectful, I'm going to cut you off. So if you want people to hear what you have to say, you have to be respectful. Okay? So let's open the lines and take a call. Any calls coming in, we'll talk about it. In the meantime, let's talk. It wasn't really my intention to open the line. Let's take this call. Caller, you're live on Your Views.
Hello, Sandra.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
This is you one of your schoolmates.
Hey.
Over at the old hospital.
Uh-huh.
Where you used to sit down as a young little girl in group 12.
Yeah.
Sandra.
Uh-huh.
You don't care about them, you know. You don't study them, you know. You're born here, think it's evil. You're born evil, and half of your life you think it. We see it all. We see the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Definitely.
When it comes to Mahan, he's a propagandist. He must learn to talk truth. And come and tell this country about the incident with he at Fitzroy Boyan College.
You know,
that's enough for you.
Yeah, please. Don't, yeah.
What I want to really address, though, is that why is it these people feel like they could demonize Timothy's family? These people are brilliant people, so well in this country. If the dirty fellows who employ them, you know, they qualify, they had no authority but to give them work in the country when they're born. They're born here. They qualify people. Why the man don't bring his ex-girlfriend? Why you don't tell the ex-girlfriend come back here and tell us about the lot of nonsense she do in Dubai? That is where we want to hear from the politicians.
Exactly.
And when it comes to McKnight people ain't gonna be fooled no more. We get so much background from the days of Watcher. Only song on your tongue. If Columbus don't come down there and put Grant and any one of them push it, you know what you gonna say? Also, when the current change,
Not at all.
and we send people parliament all the time.
It's
We
true.
send this last one. He gone up and down with he big shot them. Every minute and speedboat are going to leave it over the other one over there. Like the uncle. Then okay. And we're going to that no more.
Definitely
We
not.
want something new in that night. And Lubianga will bring it home for us. We will bring the youngster home. That's how it has shown. He has proved himself to the world. He has proved himself to poor people. We're getting where we cannot again. So I want to shout something to you. He got some old man over in physical development for years. And that the start under the great Hammer ratio. Labor in for all these years. These people work there for years. Can't get pension. Calling on the Prime Minister. When this conscious-minded people put him into Parliament, find some money and pay off them old people on physical development.
That's true.
And put these young men to go there and clean the lawn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, Sandra, that is what I want to hear you talking about. Timothy right away is the best thing for the country. The country needs a leader, Sandra. And you keep on talking, you can't hear, they can't do nothing.
Thank
If
you.
whoever here coming and talking, we could talk too.
Thank you. Thank you for your
Have a good day.
You do likewise. Thank you for your thank you for your contribution. Yeah, it's where it's at. We have to start looking at the situation as it is. It is not fair. It is not fair when somebody is going to start a story and nobody try to investigate whether or not it is true, but they're going to carry the story. I've heard so many stories being carried around, and when you look, it is no truth to it, but it is around, and people believe it. We have a call. Let's take this call. Caller, you live on your views.
Morning, Sanjo.
Hi, morning.
Good morning, Sanjo. Let me weigh in on your conversation, Sanjo.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have a doctor running for election. He talk about corruption. In politics, he talk about health care. If you're the doctor and spend so much money to go to doctor, to college, why you don't send the health care and make it better?
Thank you.
You know? We can't take a politician and send them up the hospital to take care of patients.
Thank you.
Anybody could run for politics.
Thank you.
You know, if the health care is so bad, you try and make it better. We need doctors in the hospital. You barely know the health care bad at the hospital. Make it better. Right now, I made to understand the office closed and leave the patient them unfinished. And people say he's a very nice doctor.
This is the question. This is what I ask. I've heard that. You are supposed to be looking after sick people. You're running around in politics, and the patients who have brought you this point, you turn your back on them. So if you could do that to your patients, what are you going to do to the country, to the people who supports you after you get into office?
So you met the hospital and the healthcare better. We need doctors. We don't want no more corrupt politicians. Like he's saying they're corrupt. But he's going in there to make it better. Get rid of corruption. He can't get rid of corruption. Corruption older than him. And I asking everybody, they're talking about Timothy. Something good in him because a young party just come up and have so much follow is something somebody would see that man, what they can't see.
Thank you.
You understand? This man take care of people. He don't left you unfinished. He said, he can do something for you, he do it. And that's the kind of leader we want.
Thank you.
And when you see you have a leader and could change people, something good in him. In a positive way, not a negative way. And every time we go to the PLP meeting, I see something good. So you know what we have to do? We have to double the P because he said he's going to double up. So instead of PLP, we have to put double PLP. Timothy Harris, I wish him well, all the best, and I hope that the people look at leadership. They saying all about party and mother was labor and father was this. Them things gone. Dwyer them living in the long time past. Dwyer and Big Lights again, are you on the radio? Begging Sean and Mark them, call emotion, call it now. Get rid of Timothy. The longer I am keeping me, the better before him. And now today I see Big Lights up and down in Labour Martin, Joe for PM. And what kind of thing these people that deal with?
Get rid of them.
Sanjay, it's disgusting.
It is
you
disgusting.
either for me or you against me. And wherever this country, you know, it's them is who are a big part in it. Because wherever we're going on in unity, we don't on this. It's the best thing happened to St. Kitts Nevis. We don't know what we're going on in there, but they could have waited. See who mash it up? They mash it up in pieces, and they left them there, no one gone on the other side.
Yep.
You understand, Sandra?
Thank
you. You see how things be. So who is them to come tell me who to vote for?
Thank you for your observation.
My own dependent mind, and I support in PLP, and I hope other people say, and I hope the people them fancy that Timothy Harris played a big part in farm. Douglas Labour ain't going to take care of farm people. Timothy Harris played a big part for farm people. I hear people say, what they couldn't get do is this man come and help them. And I'm asking them, please, let Timothy finish his job, okay? Because anyhow I let them say, I'm sorry for you. Woe be unto you hear? Too much of desperate people out there, Sanjo.
It's true.
They're waiting.
It's true.
They're waiting. And you have a blessed morning.
Thank you for your contribution. You know, it's voices like these you should listen to. These are voices of the ordinary people. It's a fact. There are a lot of people out there who are desperate. When you see how people are flip-flopping, you ask yourself the question, what is in it for them? And they would have said it before. They are not going to talk unless they benefit. I am sorry for Pam. I am sorry for the demise of Pam because they were fooled into believing that the grass was greener on the other side. Let's go back to the phone lines and take this final call. Caller, you're live on your views.
Good morning, Sandra.
Hi, good morning.
Oh, I'm here listening to you, and you're so right. And the disrespect of the farmer leader, the hand toy, but he could still come on the radio and say that he boy condos, he boy this, he boy that, and he boy terror, and he boy the other, and he hand toy. So you only could see that they never had no interest in the people. They had interest in looking for themselves. And that's why the people got to do what they got to do. Especially the people in the people's action movement could have torn the back pan. Because Sandra, let me tell you something, People upset about what Sean has done, People upset in the people action movement. Every day I got people complain to me. Tell me, what politics, what they do? Politics, what they do? What they do? What Sean do? You understand? Look what Mark Bundy put him into. You understand? So Sandra, people got to stop, look and listen to the three political parties and see what these parties got to offer. Mm-hmm. These young men and women who we got in PLP, Sandra, I know they are dedicated people. I know them from background. I know them when they're young, especially the guy Lubian. I know him living on a farm with his father and his mother. And he's a very hard, versatile guy. I don't even know he reached on to university and so great in this technology thing he into. I don't even know he went to university. The guy there from Sunny Point again, William. That's you. Mm-hmm. These are people, me know come up with his father Candyman, and know him come up in Sunny Point. I know the guy, and these are people who are capable. Doctors and lawyers and things fail us. And let me try the ordinary people that come from this scratch, come from the bottom. Let me try them. I believe these people will work for us with a great leader like Dr. Harris at the end.
Thank you.
Sandra, you have a wonderful morning. You always do a wonderful program and put away things good. And God bless your sister.
Thank you for your contribution. Well, we are definitely out of time, and I have to say, bid my farewell. But I said to you that this is not the silly season. This is the season when we have to make a decision, the decision of our lifetime. We have to analyze, evaluate the people who put themselves up as candidates and find out why. Ask the question, how much you were paid in order for you to be a candidate, and decide whether or not it's the interest, if you're really doing it for the interest of the people. We have seen where we have been failed over and over again. We see a man who has looked after, who have brought a different era where ordinary people are benefiting because of true politics. A leader who cares about poor people. I am here. My argument is so that the ordinary man, you create environments that are conducive for them to grow, or you create programs that would alleviate some of their poverty. Let us make sure that the decision that we make, it's a decision that's going to affect us in a positive way for the next 5 years. Look at who we have, look at what we have, look at what Dr. Harris would have accomplished in his 7 years under the conditions under which he went. He had to do that. COVID was we had a pandemic, came out in flying colors. Look at the programs that he have put in place. Poor people have gotten their roof fixed. We are out of the hands of the IMF. We don't have to pay VAT on food, and the list goes on. My name is Sandra Quilliatterton. COVID is still a factor, and we have to make sure that we continue following protocols. Wear a mask, social distancing, and make sure you wash your hands every time. You have to use your hand sanitizers, and in order to help control the spread of COVID-19. This weekend, enjoy yourself, but while doing so, you have to be very careful. I look forward to having the same discussion with you next week, Friday. Stay tuned to WinFM 98.9. Voices is up next.
Whenever